All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the official Paris Blockchain Week podcast. Today's guest, Charles Dray, founder and CEO of Resonance Security. Charles, you have built one of the most amazing cybersecurity companies in the world with an end-to-end cybersecurity platform for Web 2 and Web 3 users, businesses, and institutions with roots in finance, psychology, and hacking culture. You have pioneered a full-spectrum approach to cybersecurity that scales from everyday users to blockchain networks and celebrities. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, John. That was an amazing intro. It's great to be here.
Yeah. I mean, your background is absolutely incredible, from JP Morgan to the metaverse to building a cybersecurity platform from scratch. What inspired the founding of Resonance Security?
Yeah, that's a great question, John. It really was inspired through my desire to have a positive impact on society through skill sets that me and my network of really close engineering buddies had, and using that skill set to improve how we could impact society. And we brainstormed thoroughly on what was missing in cybersecurity, and there was a lot.
Yeah, I bet.
So, we did a lot of work around researching where the most attacks occur and building products that integrate that.
Yeah.
And as the attack vectors evolve, we've been evolving our solution. And the software integrates the newest and latest in terms of AI and other buzzword technologies, but it actually implements them in very thoughtful ways that actually help the way that the software works. It actually improves that and reduces time from the engineers while still maintaining that manual intervention, that work that's still needed by the engineers.
Yeah. I love it.
Creativity that you lose with AI.
Yeah, exactly. So for those unfamiliar, how would you describe Resonance and what makes it different from traditional cybersecurity providers?
Yeah, I mean, cybersecurity providers, we've noticed that there are hundreds of service providers, thousands of software out there.
Yeah.
It makes it so hard for someone at a business or as a consumer to shop for it. So what we've done that's quite unique is we've built a solution that blends offensive security, which is the testing of applications and the testing of what you already have, with defensive security, which is the tools that you implement to block new attacks. And we've blended that institutional grade software with a coverage for consumers, which is the individuals at the companies, individuals working at companies, VIPs, celebrities who want that personalized service, founders, and the needs for businesses, that institutional grade foundational security infrastructure that we've built, that we've evolved for all those verticals so that it works in a easy to use way, even if you're not technical.
Yeah.
It makes it a no-brainer. People are so afraid when it comes to thinking about what work they would need to do to implement cybersecurity. They think it's going to be a daunting task.
Yeah.
We make it extremely easy because we noticed people weren't implementing cybersecurity because of the time and effort. So we take that effort and time and we do it for you, essentially, so that you can just sleep well at night.
I love that. That is such a mission. I mean, that is a mission that really resonates well. My mom recently had a hacking issue, and she needed Resonance, to be honest with you. And I feel like there's billions of people on the planet that are dealing with the same situation. So you've worked with everybody from school systems to Web3 protocols to NFL athletes. What kind of problems are you solving for this wide range of users?
Yeah, it's interesting because despite the wide range of users, the same attacks have the impacts on them. And it's typically phishing is one of the biggest attack vectors for businesses, the individuals that work at the businesses, obviously, and the VIPs and celebrities. That's one of the vectors that they all share. And we've built a solution so that even if they did click on a malicious link, even if they did make a mistake, which sometimes as human beings we make mistakes, that they're protected with this solution. And beyond that, another thing that we help with is educating. When it comes to a business,
Very
educating
important.
their entire organization and educating the actual players. So it's a blend of like mixing the really cool, innovative technology, making it easy so that you don't have to necessarily be a developer to use it, and then providing that support and that personalization that's been lost with technology companies these days. We still maintain that personalization. Companies tend to remove that out of their scope because they're like, oh, that makes it more service, that takes more time. We've built an approach that allows us to still provide that personalization and make the best out of our time as well, and the time of our clients.
I love that. I love that. All right, let's get into the meaty part of the interview. Cybersecurity, Web3 vulnerabilities, and AI risk. Wow, that was a mouthful. All right, so Web3 security gaps. What are the biggest misconceptions Web3 builders and investors have about security today?
Specifically Web3?
Yes.
Okay, well, Web3 specifically, I noticed they focus more on the smart contract audits. Like, sometimes they don't even have a website built at all, and they come to us with a smart contract that needs auditing. And that's typical behavior that I've seen over many years now, since the early days of Web3. When they want to get a security audit, it's a smart contract audit. That's all they need. It's a one and done. Let's go, and then we'll call you when we need more, when we're going to do compliance or something like that.
Yeah.
And the misconception is that when a project presents an audit report to an exchange or to an investor, and it's just an audit on like a token, which is like like a very basic code, a couple hundred lines of code, if that, like, I guess like 115 lines of code.
Yeah.
It's like something like that. But they come to that, they get an audit on a token, and then the investor's like, they got audited, or the exchange is like, they got audited.
Yeah.
It becomes more of a marketing tool than an actual tool that's bringing value to the organization's true security posture.
Yeah.
So I think the misconception is about like, what does security mean? What does it really mean? I think everybody has confusion about that. Not only investors and projects and founders, people who aren't security experts, and that's much of the world.
Yeah.
Most people are not security experts. We want to turn them into that and make it easy, but make it so that they don't have to care if they don't want to.
Yeah. Can you walk us through a few overlooked Web3 attack surfaces that most people still ignore?
The Web3 attack surfaces, like I said, the phishing still remains one of the biggest attack surfaces, but I'll go more into the business side of it. A lot of the attacks that we're seeing are actually hitting the Web2 part of the stack. The smart contracts are safe, they've been audited, okay, that's fine. The attackers might attack the smart contracts or keep that in their back pocket, but the low-hanging fruit typically arise from the Web 2 part of the stack.
Yeah.
The publicly facing websites having private keys exposed and things that should be looked at that are often overlooked. Because they're Web 3, they think they should just do Web 3 security stuff. But where they're getting attacked the most is in the Web 2 side.
Yeah.
The Bybit hack was a Web 2 originating.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a $1.4 billion hack.
Wow. Insane. Yeah. That is crazy. From reactive to preventive. Most platforms are still reactive when it comes to cyber attacks. What is Resonance doing to shift that mindset and the tech stack behind it?
Yeah. So reactive and preventative.
Yeah.
Reactive relates to more of the incident response, like after it happens. And unfortunately, we see so much of that. And then those reactive measures turn into an offensive approach to determine how it happened, where there are the gaps, and find more gaps, because hackers usually know that there are more gaps. Once they start attacking something, they usually have more attack vectors if that attack vector gets closed up. So I think the reactive thing is where you don't want to be as a project.
You do not want to be.
And then the preventative side, we've seen more of the mature companies going that direction. Unfortunately, much of the Web3 projects don't have an MDR in place or an EDR. MDR is more valuable for these projects because it gives them the ability to outsource a response team that handles when attacks occur, that remediates those attacks, that investigates those attacks,
Yeah.
The preventative measures are one of the places that I see Web3 projects need a lot more attention towards, especially if they're aiming to be SOC 2 compliant or aiming for other compliance measures with DORA in place and other compliance. So the reactive and the preventative, you should have preventative in place with the offense. So that's the defensive side.
Yeah.
Companies should really have the offensive in place together with defensive and have a backup plan if they do need to react to something. But at Resonance, we actually integrate that reactive team, the offensive, the defensive, so that you don't have to worry.
I love that. I love that. So how do you balance accessibility for non-technical users with enterprise-grade protection?
Exactly. So, with enterprise grade, it is enterprise grade. So people start thinking, oh, is that going to be hard for me as a consumer if I approach Shockwave, which is Resonance Security's offering for consumers? It's made and tested by people who are not technical with the thought around that how do we implement something so that it's the least amount of effort that's needed for the consumer. So for them, essentially, it's just a dashboard that they could see if something happened, and they could access things that we've reacted to or prevented or found that we've resolved for them. It gives them that peace of mind to see that we're actually continuously at work for them, keeping them safe from the most recent attacks, the most evolving attacks, and it makes it super easy for them. There's literally no work except signing up.
Yeah, I love that. So how are you incorporating behavioral insights drawn from your psychology background into modern threat detection?
Yeah, so the modern threat detection, we do a lot of research around how hackers think. We consider like the North Korean hacking group, like Lazarus, for example, like a hive mind. How is that hive mind thinking based on the attacks that we've seen and how they've developed? How are they leveraging emerging technologies to create more sophisticated attacks? The great thing is, John, is that these attacks are easier to prevent than to orchestrate. So it makes it a positive for the users and for the consumers. It's just that they're afraid to explore cybersecurity because they think it's too expensive, it's too much work. Why do I need it? The enrollment in cybersecurity is less than that of life insurance.
That is insane. That is insane.
Yeah, most consumers have zero understanding of cybersecurity, and most have no desire until they get hacked to explore options.
Wow.
We offer insurance, so even if people didn't want to explore like implementing solutions, they could at least have options for insurance if they did get hacked. Yeah. So.
Amazing. So AI is both a weapon and a shield in cybersecurity today. How is Resonance navigating that duality?
Yeah, I'll shift now to the business side, since the business side, the enterprise solution is, our bread and butter. It's what helped us grow from the start. The AI attack vectors that we're seeing still impact the phishing area the most with the sophisticated attacks, even with the businesses. But what we've done to stay ahead of the curve is we've implemented AI techniques using our own model to check false positives on vulnerabilities found on our platform to help streamline and help the engineers use less time but be able to be more effective when analyzing these threats that come up through our tool or through other tools in the defensive security as well. And this is for the business as well. And so 3 of our 5 tools, we've integrated AI for false positive checking. And we've recently built a tool that's a browser extension that automatically checks your emails and your web browsing for phishing attempts and highlights it. So again, the measures to prevent attacks are easier to implement for you as a non-technical person than it is for a hacker to orchestrate an attack on you.
I love it. So we're going to get into the fun part of the interview now, lightning round. Quick questions, quick answers. All right. Token or Trojan? What's the most common scam you see in the crypto space that still catches people off guard?
I would say meme coins.
Wow. All right. Boom. There we go. Hacker hype. What's a headline-grabbing breach that taught the industry the wrong lesson?
I'd have to say the United Healthcare hack. It taught everybody that large companies can breach a large number of data that impacts a large number of people and not really have much repercussion. And everybody's data is out there, and nobody really cares.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Firewalls or foresight? What's more valuable today, hardened infrastructure or human awareness?
Of course, a combination of both is best. If you're a business, I would say firewalls are going to be a great protection. If you're an individual, awareness is going to be key.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. OG or OD? What Web3 security narrative needs to be retired like yesterday?
That a smart contract audit is enough. That a PDF report on its own is going to save the day.
Boom. There you hear. You heard it here first. Cipher or celebrity? What's harder to secure, a blockchain protocol or a public figure's digital life?
I would say a blockchain protocol, depending on how many projects launched on their chain and if those projects are doing enough. Because with the blockchain protocol, depending on the chain, projects can launch their own chain or launch a protocol within that chain.
Yeah.
And exponentially increases attack surfaces because you have different projects with different security cultures.
Yeah. Love that. I love that. AI or I roll. Is AI really helping security or is it just marketing right now?
If you want to, send AI on a mission on its own with no engineers, with no operator, I think that's a really bad idea. I would say that AI is helping security if you use it practically. Don't put all your eggs in one basket with AI.
Okay, final question, lightning round. Resonance realness. What's something your team does behind the scenes that clients rarely notice but makes all the difference?
The personalized approach. Every client is discussed about internally by a team of at least 5 people who have a deep understanding and passion for what that project wants to achieve, and then we confirm that with the project. There's a lot of internal conversations happening about how to improve things continuously that clients aren't aware of, but hopefully they feel it continuously.
Yeah, I love it. So this now is obviously the Paris Blockchain Week podcast. They've never done it before. Thank you for being one of the first guests on it. How many times have you been to Paris Blockchain Week? This is not your first, right?
Yeah, we've been here 3 times.
3 times.
It's been really wonderful. Last year we were actually at the startup booths. They have like these little startup booths, and we're so lucky and so glad that we've had the opportunity to help so many with cybersecurity, to help our growth to be where we are today.
All right, so let's just get some general impressions. What's been the most surprising or energizing conversation you've had at Paris Blockchain Week this year?
Ooh, there were so many. I really enjoy the conversations around, this is just me, right? Because I do have a little degen in me being in blockchain so long.
Yeah.
The tokenization of real-world assets and things like tokenizing croissants and tokenizing wines and tokenizing sakes.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of like real-world asset tokenization for years, like people trying to tokenize everything from like clothing to samurai swords and games and NFTs, of course.
Yeah.
But the food, the consumables is one of the things that I always get energized because the person's like, I have the best sake in the world that's made in this really special way. I'm going to tokenize that. I'm like, show me the sake.
Yeah.
Show me the money. Show me the
money. Show me the money. So what's one thing you wish every founder here would think about more when it comes to cyber security?
I wish that it was one of the top 5 things they talked about in general.
I mean, AI is not so hot, right? So
So, founders should prioritize cybersecurity and not think that it's something that's going to eat up their entire budget. There are options out there. We're here to help.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So what security trend are you most excited or worried about for the rest of 2025?
Ooh, I'm worried about how attackers are starting to use not only voice cloning, but like appearance cloning.
Wow, that's crazy.
By mapping facial recognition. If a facial recognition company's data is breached, that could be disastrous because you could use AI to create a clone of that person using facial recognition data and voice cloning, essentially making it impossible to decipher. That scares the crap out of me.
It scares the crap out of me too. So, closing thoughts. We're going to wrap this up. You bootstrapped, built from the ground up, and made cybersecurity accessible. What's next for Resonance and for you personally?
We're doing some really innovative projects around how to practically implement AI for coders at an early stage so that security vulnerabilities don't get built in from the start. Even though you do need an audit after regardless, but we're building agentic AI features into this browser extension I told you about that checks for phishing attempts on emails and on browsing the web. And we're the first cybersecurity company or anybody as of today that has built an MCP server that helps vibe coders implement that to check as they're vibe coding that security flaws aren't built in. And it also helps non-vibe coders who are building to help check, and it looks at all vulnerabilities across like OAuth, NIST, compliance protocols across Web 2, and we're building it for Web 3 protocols across Rust and Solidity chains, EVMs, Near, Substrate, Solana. We're hitting it all up, and we're moving really fast, and people have seen a lot of value from what we're doing.
Just to explain to anybody that may not know, what is vibe coding?
Vibe coding is the ability for anyone to code using AI.
Wow.
You give it instructions and essentially codes for you.
Wild.
There's a disturbance there, keeps me up at night, in that if you don't know how to code, you don't know that you're coding in vulnerabilities. So an MCP server built by a reputable company that cares and is doing their darndest to make things count, has built this to make it possible for you to not be technical and still not build more vulnerable applications and send it out in the wild for more people to get hacked.
I love it. What's the single most important mindset shift the world needs to make around cybersecurity right now?
I think that they need to start thinking about it beyond just the big news that comes out. Because whenever big news comes out, I see a very interesting phenomenon where all of a sudden, cybersecurity is the star of the show for that day.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about it. But then 3 days later, nobody cares.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how big the hack is. Like when someone wins, it's like the same effect of like when someone wins the $300 million lottery.
Yeah.
They're like famous for a quick minute, and then it just disappears. Why?
Right.
Why does that happen?
Yeah.
That needs to change. Cybersecurity needs to be the same thing as car insurance. You know, it's something that you buy for your vehicle, yourself as a vehicle.
Yeah.
A vehicle for success. Cybersecurity will get you there.
Amazing. So what are the best ways for people to learn more about Resonance, work with Resonance, and then also best ways for people to follow you and learn about all the amazing things you're doing?
Yeah, we put out a ton of articles out there that we brainstorm around, and we work with a variety of people all across the space that are scientists and researchers and engineers all around the world. We put out great content. You could find that content on www.resonance.security. That's our URL, our website. And then on LinkedIn, Resonance Security. Yeah. Always putting content out there. We are also on X, Resonance Sec. We are also on all the social media outlets, everything from YouTube to Blue Sky and Threads, Truth Social and Instagram. We're all over. So just Google Resonance Security and you'll see all about us, all the updated content we're putting out constantly to help you be secure.
And you're personally on LinkedIn posting and X, is that it?
I'm on LinkedIn and X mainly.
Okay.
And you can always contact us at support@resonance.security if you want a quick answer or need something.
Yeah.
We're people behind the scenes.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. We definitely need to do this again. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Paris Blockchain Week, and hope people take a little time out of their days to learn more about cybersecurity and why it is so important for them to be investing not only time but money into this most important thing, because the amount of money you're going to put into it is going to probably pay back. You're going to be able to basically have an ROI of probably 1 million times based on just a small little investment in time in cybersecurity can save you so much time and money. I literally had a guest, Nikita Sachdev Lord, the CEO founder of Luna PR, and she talked about how she had her wallet broken into a couple of years ago. And she just felt so dumb and so hopeless, and it's because it's crazy. She had an email with her wallet address in it. They broke into her email, and then when they went through the email, they saw, oh wow, there's her seed phrase, boom boom, and all her money was gone. And I guarantee if she had Resonance, that would have been prevented.
Yes, and unfortunately, the feeling that people get from getting hacked is an awful feeling.
It's the worst.
From my psychology background, I studied what is that feeling.
Yeah.
It's a feeling of deceit.
Yes.
And that feeling of deceit actually resonates to others around you, and like the way that you act, the way that you feel, if your life savings dissolve, it's a feeling of you've been harmed, and you've been hurt, and it's hard to eliminate that feeling. If we could eliminate that feeling for even just 1% of the global population, I think it's a success story. And if we could do it for 100% of the population, then there's a strong chance that the future is going to be better for those people who enrolled.
Yep, I absolutely love your mission. Can't thank you enough for coming on, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, John. You've been great.
All right, thanks.